Okay, guys. Okay, guys. You can start. So, mm, today we are starting the Azure Insight series 101. Azure Understanding the Big Picture. I am Kapilan speaker of this session, and I am a Microsoft Brand Ambassador, IFA, and undergraduate at University of Global. And today objective is learn about the cloud computing concept, including how to use Azure and the benefit of using Azure. There will be a hands-on session with a question and answer. And before moving on, please everyone go to the menti.com and type this code. There are two questions there. You please answer those questions so I can understand the audience, the level of your understanding of the cloud computing and the Azure. So please go to the menti.com and type this code. The link in the chat box. So go to the menti.com and type it that code. Sorry for that. I am muted to. Okay. Seems like most of them doesn't know about the Azure before, and then doesn't know about the cloud computing. So today we are covering the basics all about the cloud, what's the cloud, and why is Azure is, and we are looking one by one in deep. So let's go to this. Sorry for that. So you can see the illustration about the cloud. So when you're looking this picture, you can understand, you can get some idea about the cloud, right? So the cloud have a lot of services, including the servers. There is a lot of servers in the cloud, so you can use the artificial machine learning and artificial intelligence from the cloud, and you can host a website in the cloud, and the analytics and the server services and the database. You can use all of them in a cloud. So when you're looking at the definition of the cloud, and yeah, when you're looking at the definition, cloud computing is a delivery of the on-demand computing services over the internet. Delivering the on-demand computing services in the internet. This is just a simple thing, the cloud. Yeah, when you are looking the cloud, you can do a lot of things, but when you are telling the cloud, some of them are hearing about the buzzword like a cloud, right? So, but exactly not that, not like that. So, when you're using the cloud, it's really easy and really interesting stuff. So we are seeing the demo time. How is the cloud and the Azure? How can utilize them into our day-to-day activities, and how they improve our development and the time saving and efficiency works. So the services you find interesting will depending on your needs. So, for example, database admins think about rendering web service in the cloud. So, if you are the database admin, the thing about rendering the database servers in the cloud. The programmers think about the setting up their billing pipeline and the source repository in the cloud. So basically the GitHub and like that. So and the data analysts want to leverage the machine learning tools in the cloud. So and think about all the online services you use. Office 365, Google Sheet, on OneDrive, Slack, Microsoft Teams, and run all in the cloud nowadays. So yeah, cloud is basically the massive scale of server. Yeah. Basically, for example, it's not a one server, not a two server. It's a massive server. There's a server farm. There's called for the server farm for the each region. So, for example, when you're taking the Azure, Azure has a millions of servers deployed in a data center in every global region, in available in 140 countries. So, make the word of the region. So, when you're using the cloud, you can use the region. This is the frequently word for using the cloud computing. The region is whether they're located in the data servers, data firm, data centers. So in every region there are a separate space for the data center. So that's called the region basically. In Azure, million of servers deploy in every data center in every global region. There's a totally the 140 countries. Yeah, 140 countries are there. And the looking at the bandwidth. So when you are accessing the cloud services, the virtual machine is the computing power. You are just getting faster and faster, right? So day to day, when you are today accessing the virtual machine is less small time, and in comparing the in future, rather than small time, right? I mean that you can access the 5 seconds. In next time you can access the 3 seconds. So getting more faster and faster for when you are in the cloud. So there are, for example, when you are considering Azure, so like Azure has up to 1.6 million gigabytes bandwidth per region. So they are allocating the bandwidth and for the per region 1.6 million gigabytes. Just thinking about that, right? So 1.6 million gigabytes is something awesome, right? So for that, I just right. And considering the virtualizations, this is the interesting part I like in the cloud computing. I using the daily life, right? So when you are, for example, just consider one case, right? Case study. You have a laptop. So you in your laptop you want to work like a high low workloaded task, right? So that's work you have. You want to 16 GB RAM and SSD and other configuration stuff. So in your lab doesn't support that configuration. So when you are looking the virtualizations, so there are might have some solutions there. So if you want that, you want to buy or render someone laptop. So is something the process is something delay and getting frustrated, right? So the cloud has a solution for that. So you can, if you want to the what kind of configuration machine you want, you just go and purchase. There is a per when you are using the service, only you pay only you what time you are using, right? So after that you don't pay anything, any single amount for the cloud. So that's the concept, basically the virtualizations. So we are looking the demo time, what's how we can create the virtual machine for using our day-to-day stuff, right? So we can looking at the demo time and the selling hardware and the software. This is where it's getting closer to us, right? So when you're selling hardware and the software, for example, for when you're buying the virtual machine, they are selling the hardware, right? Hardware resources for us and the software resources as well. They are inbuilt OS and the particular configured hardware supports. They are all are selling for us. This is what they are costing to us currently, right? So and then the cloud services, we are basically the three categories are there. Basically, we can divide. So, synonym for AAS, as a services. The cloud services basically we can divide in three. There's a, as a services. We are in divided in the three categories. The broad, basically these broad categories. So, infrastructure as a service, software as a service, platform as a service. So when we looking into the infrastructure as a service, it's the on-demand access to the cloud hosting is the physical and the virtual server, and storage the network and the network. So okay, and then we can the basically the backend we have a lot of hardware there. So in the backend IT infrastructure running the application for all workloads, right? So there's a infrastructure like um, when you are buying the hardware with virtual machine, you they own the hardware resources. All the hardware resources they own. So and that's basically the infrastructure as a service, and the software as a service. It's a on-demand access, ready-to-use cloud-hosted application or the software, right? So um, let's think about you are using the cloud computer, the Google Sheet, right, or the Word in a cloud. So this is kind of as a software as a service. So there are already hosted in a particular server. You just use it, right? That's a software as a service, and the platform as a service. The platform as a service is a completely ready to use of cloud hosted platform, right? So you can for developing and running and maintaining all this stuff, right? So you don't need to install any single part for your computer. You just go to the in the cloud and you can use and the development and the maintain all the stuff from the cloud. So you can use anywhere in any time. So that is the basically the platform as a service. So indeed, so we are using each and everything in a demo time, how they are in a implemented in a real time. So in a infrastructure, how they implemented as a real time in a cloud. So we are looking each and everything in a demo time. So and then looking for the there is a US National Institute of Standards and Technologies or NIS defined five essential characteristics of cloud. So the on-demand self-services. When you're looking for the on-demand self-services, in traditionally, if you want to buy anything additionally, want to configure the additional adding for the resources like hardware resources, like when you're buying the you can buy particular resource for hardware resource, you want to increase or that resource, so you want to conduct the admin. So that's the process you are in a traditional way. In a nowadays on demand is the concept is you can reduce or increase your hardware resources or whatever it is in your dashboard. So basically the level of services through the dashboard without contacting service providers, right? So without contacting service providers, you can uh, access and reduce the level of hardware and resources you can use. And then broader network access, broad network access, sorry, sir. And it's like that you can access every devices like a desktop, mobile, and a laptop, and also in a wide range location. So we are at where you are in working place or in a road, you can access anywhere. That is the concept. This is kind of a rule of having the every cloud providers having, right? So when you are when you are looking, you can when you are using the cloud, you can feel like that these are the protocols are already inbuilt in that every cloud providers. And the resource pooling. When you're looking the resource pooling is the uh, it means that resources are pooled across the multiple customers. It's reduced the cost of the cloud providers and the cloud customer. It's basically the early days we are hosting the web in we are purchase the host particular servers and host the web, right? So in these days, research tooling, if you someone didn't use that particular service and the cloud is manage all the things we are building. For example, someone buy the render cloud. So that time someone didn't use that particular amount of the cloud one storage or the space. Someone want to use the someone want to access that platform, they can easily access, right? So they are that time the owners of that platform they are suspended. So they didn't use that form. That time they don't want to the space. So that time they are suspended, and the cloud automatically allocate other person to use that. That's basically the resource pooling and the rapid elasticity. And this is I think I might be familiar about the things like this, right? So when you are using the accessing the when you are getting the results, A-level results, you might be feel about the servers is stuck, right? So when you are getting the traffic on that time, you cannot access like uh, 10,000 people accessing in the same time? You can't, right? You can't access as a 10,000 one. You cannot, right? So that time the elasticity means, there is a in the cloud there is a load balancer. So they are creating the particular instance. So if you are increasing the load, I think the traffic increasing, they are creating the automatically create the instance. So when you are creating an instance, they are redirect the traffic every time. So when you reduce the traffic, automatically the service, the instance was suspended. So only when you use when you are increasing the traffic, only take the cost for that instance for particular time. Other other than that, they didn't cost anything. So that's the basic concept of the elasticity. And then measurable services. When you are looking the cloud, you can measure the services, right? So for example, when you're this is the pay as you go, right? The service model, the basically the service model is. So when you're using the virtual machines, so particular time or 1 hour or the particular time. So that time you are costing the services. This is the kind of a protocol every service cloud providers has, or the cloud vendors has, right? And there are some resources. I will share this slide deck with our WhatsApp group, so you can access later and access the link as well. So basically, you can refer this document, so you can get more idea about the cloud. So what we have discussed up to now, we are going to the demo time. So when you are what we are discussed up to now, we are using that concept in the demo for now. And this is we didn't cover a lot of things in a cloud, so that will be covered in the next series. This is a continuous of series, so you can follow next. So until that, you can refer the material, what's the cloud, and all the basic stuff you can refer using this link. So right, somehow you can get some idea, right? The cloud is right. So cloud is a set of the tool or service available from the cloud providers like Microsoft and Amazon, Google. They are providing the set of the services. That is the basically cloud, right? So cloud, they are providing the services. That's basically cloud. And Azure is the one of the provider of the cloud, right? So there are a lot of providers are there in Amazon, IBM, Salesforce, Google, and Oracle. A lot of people are there in a lot of vendors in the market. So in we are particularly using the Azure. And why we are using the Azure? So when we are looking the market leader, so every time we are looking the best of the best, right? We are looking for the best of the best for every time. So that's concept applying for everything, right? So when you're looking the revenue for the market revenue, so Microsoft is the leading for that one. So you might be questioning about the why Amazon is second place, right? You might be heard about Amazon is a top providers like that. So somebody you might be heard about, right? So why sometimes you are raising the question about why Amazon second, right? And for the answering the question why is second is there are whole they are providing the getting revenue from the infrastructure as a service and the platform as a service. That's that their main revenue come from, right? So the numbers come from that services, infrastructure and the platform as a services. And in talking about the Microsoft, they're getting the all the things. The when you're considering the cloud, they are getting all the things. The infrastructure as a service, software as a service, and platform as a service, right? So you're considering about you're using the Office 365, right? So that's also including, right? So how many people are using the Office 365 in nowadays? So you can raise the question about asking question about yourself. So that's what we are Microsoft in a leading position in the revenue. So and there are a lot of subscription model in the Azure, right? So in the Azure, when you're considering the Azure, there are subscription for the businesses, government, non-profit, and the student and individual. We are particularly talking about the students. So when you're a student, you don't want to use any credit cards, right? So when you are purchasing the cloud services, there are some limited services are free for the student as well. And when you are using your email ID, university email ID, you can access some sort of free services as well for the students. And Azure is a pricing on a pay per user basis, like before I told you, like that. So when you're using the CPU per hour, the consuming the power of the CPU, you just pay on that time. That's the consume time. And before moving on this one, we are looking for we are go to the demo, and then we are look other content as well. Okay. When you are looking the Azure, just you can go with the azure.com or azure.microsoft.com. That's the URL. You just go and sign in. I go. Just type it Azure and go to this one. And I already have an account. So if you don't have any account Azure, so just create the account. And if you have an account, just sign in. That's the process. I just omit that part. And after that, you can get in like an interface like this. So sometimes you doesn't have like interface like this. So this bar doesn't show. You can get like this. So if you want to get this kind of an interface, you can go to the setting and startup view and the Docker. So you can click this one and you can get like this one. Why this bar is the sidebar is very useful. You can the favorite your when you are using your frequently using services are added for here, and you can use anytime. So this is a quick access for the services, right? So I just want to create the virtual machine. So that's what you can get some idea about how cloud is working, right? So just go to the virtual machine, or if you couldn't find, you just search the virtual machine here. So already there. So I just click it, and there are already I have four virtual machines running stage. So there's also in Windows service, Windows operating system currently running. So I just create the one virtual machine, create a virtual machine, and there is a subscription plan. So I already have a subscription plan. You in your level of the account, there is a might be difference. So in my case, I am using the MS domain, so that's what is getting the subscription. Is no worry about that. You are getting the different name. There's a no matter what, right? So we are creating the resource group. I am already having a resource group, or if you don't have, just create it. And I am using the virtual VW4 groups. I am using that one. So if you don't have any group, you just create it. There's no any formalities, right? So you want to create the name as well for the virtual machine. So I am creating the virtual machine test case. No one. So I just create the test case, and hey, here you can see the region. So particularly the region is a data center, the nearly to you, right? So basically, the some region has some sort of services. Some region doesn't have some supporting some services. So US regions support most of the services. So and also the in here we can nearly to the India one. So Asia Pacific. So I go with that one now, and there are all the services are available from the India as well. And the availability options and it's a kind of a backup plan. So if you want to backup for the data or the resources you might be have in the future, so that's what I just leave it as a default. Leaving as a default, and that security type is standard. And here the image. The image is the operating system. What the operating system you want, right? So here there are a lot of operating system here. So here you can I am choosing like Windows Server 90 gen second generation second, right? So yes, wait. Okay. Mm, okay, second, select it again. So I'll choose another one. Okay. 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 Yeah, cool. And you can select the architecture of your VMware and virtual machine, sorry, virtual machine. And also this is kind of a discount, right? The resource pooling when you are the allocating the your part of other people. So that's I just omit that part now. And here the username and the password of your system, right? So I am putting as a root user, and I create the password like right. Okay. Okay. So okay, and here, so the inbound port is like accessing your public IP from the web servers or the remote access, right? So in a SSH, you can when you're using the Ubuntu-like servers, you can use the SSH, and the Windows servers you can use RDP. So and we can use HTTP as well for the accessing the browser for the servers. And here, if you have a Windows license, you can click and you can reduce the cost of you are purchasing the virtual machine. And go next. And I am leave it as a default. So here, I don't want to change anything here. So the yeah as well. So I will briefly describe what is this in later sessions. So now if I explain these things, you might be confused, or I just leave it as a default, right? So and next, and then enable auto shutdown. This is the basically up to you features. So I just leave it as the default, and boot diagnosis I disable it. And next, advanced features, and then tags. So tag is basically the metadata. So the I just added the creator by. So then it's kind of a metadata. So when you're searching, this is might be helpful. So So here you can see the host of the hour per hour. You are getting the kind of cost for hour. So you can just review that one. So when you are choosing the, yeah, you can see, like, you can click the preview and see what's the what the what you did, right? So basically the point, right? And finally you just review and create. After reviewing all the parts, you just review and the create. This might be taking time for deploying the servers. Wait. So up to now, we are covering the cloud computing. So you might be understand the cloud computing, right? So uh, I saw your results. You're not familiar about the cloud computing up to now. So the basically the cloud computing is kind of deliver the on-demand services, right? On-demand services for the users. There are a lot of providers there in Amazon and Microsoft, Google, IBM, lot of providers there. So they are providing the services for us. They have a software they inbuilt in their servers, and they providing and they allow to use their product as per our usage, our needs, right? Basically, that's the and this is kind of a efficiency when you buying the third party or in build your own server farm for your own purposes. When you're considering that, this is kind of a efficiency method. And this is all. You can see the monitoring. When you're monitoring tab, you can see whether the CPU how's working, the percentage, and wait, it's loading. Give me time. So you can see the we created just now. So it's my we didn't start any process for the mission. So this is the public IP address. You can access this from the browser as well later. So before I just move into that, I just connect that one into a virtual machine. So this is where you can see the output of what the virtual machines look like when you are creating the virtual machine. So just wait a second, they will be getting ready, right? So and then download the RDP file. And after the downloading, just double click it and just connect. And here you can choose it's a different account. So I am using root user, root user, and the password what I am remember me. In a second, I will check whether my password is correct or not. I just Thanks. Give me a minute. I will figure it out what the issue is. The password is coming the wrong. So give me a minute. I will. Sorry guys for the delay. So this is another occurred. So I just create a new one for deploying. It's currently deploying. So wait. When you are having the output like the virtual machine, so you just like a real PC, like when you're using the real PC for the Windows, so like that, you are getting the output. So it's currently deploying. Yeah, right. Okay, yeah. When you are connecting, like you can getting the certification verification, certificate verification. So yes. Yeah. After that, you can getting the Windows is loading. Still loading. So and the Windows service now is deploying. So give me a minute. It's so it's like you are rendering the Windows server, right? So you can use whatever configuration you want the servers, right? They already inbuilt OS and hardware also. Whatever if you are doing the high definition work, high configured work for the system, you don't want to buy the new system, right? So you just go to the cloud and create a virtual machine and then you can use it, right? So this is the virtual things, right? So I will show you, right? So this is the remote access role. So the particularly the physical hardware is a different phase, but we are using the servers from here as a remote one. So here you can see so here you can see, right, the device name I've been named as a ABC and this kind of a configured system currently I have, right? So if you want to the high configure server rather than this, so you can purchase that one. So basically you are buying the server, right? So you can using the you can buy servers now and then you can host it, the servers and when you are the deploying and you can use the private cloud and all the things in advanced things also there, and we will look at in X by X everything's in a later session. So here I just going to go to the presentation again. And here and the full loaded system is ready, so you can now use it, right? So here the system's there. So when you are buying the new computer, when you're loading the OS and what's look like, so that's look is appearing here as well. And I just want to shut down this one, and I am shutdowning for the virtual machine. So and now I just go to the presentations. Yes, and in next sessions we are deploying model, the private and the public cloud. We are looking at in later, and the API management and the workflow and the Azure store and the Azure databases. And and I will leave the form with you all, and you can fill that one, and you can get the feedback as well from that. And if you have any questions, you can ask me right now. So guys, I am put the phone link from the chat box, so you can access the. So if you have any question, guys, you can ask me, or the if you don't have any question for if you have any question later later, so you can mail me or ask me from the WhatsApp. So you have a you can contact any admin of your group, right? So they will be help you. And you can fill that form as well. I put in the chat box so you can see. Then if you doesn't have any question, guys, we can wrap up the session. Right, okay. So thank you guys for attending the session and have a nice day. Thank you all. Bye. And the certificate after the fill the form, you can get the mail for the certification. And this is the not the one session, this is a series of the session, and then you can next sessions will be scheduled in another day, so you can get a notification from that session as well in a later. Okay guys, thank you for attending. Okay, bye, see you.